literally sums up my point. What's wrong with your brain at the moment?
What do you mean? Nothing's wrong with my brain.
That was sexual.
That was not sexual.
Yes, it was. You gave me sexual eyes.
I was just looking at you while I was
doing something weird with the mic.
Funny.
You've changed.
Anyway.
Let's get cozy. We said it at the same time.
Stole my bit.
No, we both say it.
No, we don't.
I'm so ready to podcast there. I don't know why. I think I've had too much caffeine.
Have you had any caffeine today?
Yeah, I've had a coffee and I had a Monster in my training session. I'm like in a really weird mood.
Right.
Hello everyone and welcome back to That Gym Couple podcast.
Hosted by yours truly, Lucy and Callum.
Indeed.
Is this a bit too like
man-spreading?
Yeah.
Potentially. Every week, like get your position, man. Like every week you're just like huffling and puffling.
Huffling and puffling.
Hufflepuff. That's a house in Hogwarts, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
You know that. Why are you asking?
I meant fidgeting.
Yeah, I know. I just, as soon as we hit record, I'm like, oh, everything's uncomfortable.
Also, you're way too far away from the mic. I actually re-listened to our episode.
I'm not. My mic's just a bit louder than yours.
You're literally like back here.
Yeah, because my mic's louder than yours. And if I go too close.
If we ever get to the day where we have like a proper production of this podcast, that would be the best day of my life.
We don't have to rearrange your living room every time we record.
Yeah, literally.
It'd be so good.
And like we actually have a nice background and
yeah,
it just looks like a podcast. Not to be honest though, probably the majority, if any listeners, listen rather than watch. But obviously you can watch on YouTube.
Do you know, I was looking at our analytics the other day on Spotify, and the vast majority of our listeners are female. The vast majority.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that surprised.
Interesting. And are they listening or watching? Who's watching? That was
just on Spotify. So
okay.
But
wait, how do you know that? It gives you the names, or just says male and female? It gives you names.
So I'd like to take this episode to read thank yous to all of you.
Thank you, Amber, for watching. Oh, interesting. That's probably because the majority of my followers on Instagram are female.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's just the way the algorithm pushes it.
Yeah, well, come on, guys. What do you want us to discuss? This is for guys just as much as it is for girls.
And girls, what do you want us to discuss?
Well, yeah, obviously, but they're already listening, so...
Yeah, true. Obviously, we're doing something...
wrong or right?
Well, I assume right in that sense, but... We just want to jump in here and say thank you to every single one of you who listens to the podcast or watches us on YouTube.
We hope our community continues to grow and we can inspire more people to start their own journey in the world of fitness.
All we ask is that you share this with someone who you think would enjoy listening to us chat each week.
Well, anyway, let's get straight into the episode. We are going to introduce a new segment to the podcast.
Yeah.
Weekly check-in. Because we have both now started our cutting phases. Callum's kind of been on-off cutting for a while. Not very well, let's be real.
Yeah, I've not... in all honesty, like I work better when I've got like a sort of shorter time frame.
Or not having a girlfriend that's bulking.
Yeah, that doesn't help. When if I've got like say 10 weeks, it's a lot easier. If I've got 20 weeks, I'm not thinking about cutting.
Fair.
Like I'd rather and I could say, oh yeah, but I've got longer. I could just have a smaller deficit or something like that. But it's just so long. No one wants to be in a cut for that long.
And you're more likely to probably not that you have to say no to social events, but you're more likely to be like, oh, the social event doesn't really matter because I've got so long. Whereas if you know you've got less time, you're probably just going to be like, do you know what? For 12 weeks, I'm just going to really try my best to not go out and just really focus on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I mean, obviously I've been bulking, so that hasn't been helpful because
But I think we had things like your birthday.
Yeah.
27. Look at her. Stunner.
New woman.
She's practically...
I do feel like a woman now. Like, I feel like...
Oh my God.
What? I just feel like I'm not like a girl.
You're only a week
old.
Like,
when does a girl go from a girl to a woman? Like, when does a man go from a boy to a man?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think it's a gradual thing.
I think it's just how you feel.
It's definitely not a change in a week.
No, but it's like 27 feels like, mature.
It's a good age. It is a good age.
Yeah.
I think you're slowly realising that actually like 27 is a good age.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's been 4 days. But I did have a lovely birthday.
No, and exactly. And I think because we had things planned and stuff like that, it's in the back of my mind knowing that like we went out to Sexy Fish for dinner and we had a day the next day in Manchester, and I knew that it was going to be, we wanted to go and eat and enjoy ourselves and stuff. And of course I can do that on a cut, and I could have prepared for it and been like, oh, I'm just going to take, but it was also
would have
like
been a spoil sport, really.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine
like if you'd been like, I can't have that. Oh no, I'd feel so guilty if you were sat there eating your meal prep and I was diving into a fried chicken burger.
Oh, that was so
tacos
so
and
horrible.
nachos. I mean, if you were like doing a bodybuilding show, I would obviously support you, but I just think it would make me be a bit healthier too.
Fortunately, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. But anyway, we digress. We are both now officially cutting kind of 10 to 12 weeks we've sort of given ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah.
What was it like? It's like 11 weeks, isn't it?
11
We've
weeks.
kind of put my sister's wedding to like our end point.
I think because after that we know that we're going on holiday as well. So we thought we would just...
We want to feel great for the wedding, but also then that will go into summer, won't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And the weather is getting a little bit nicer. So like, for example, I went out for a walk yesterday. We went for a walk in the evening. Like, we're wanting to get out and move more, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, anyway, we thought it would be a nice little segment in the podcast to basically do our check-in and just sort of say how we're getting on with our cut and what we're kind of doing, I guess. Is that what we said we'd do?
Yeah, I think it's...
Don't have to keep it too long, but...
It's us staying accountable with you guys as to how our cuts are going.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with you, I guess.
Sorry, my watch just buzzed. So obviously it's literally been a day. Like, I officially started on Monday and it's gone really well so far. I'm actually really proud of myself. I have tracked every single thing that I've eaten. I've been really paying attention to my macros, trying to hit my protein, drinking my water. Because being completely honest, during my bulk, I didn't really track, which I probably should have, but I just got a bit lazy with it. So it feels good to get back to tracking, to knowing what I'm putting in my body. I've like smashed my step count yesterday. Being just more aware, like checking my watch, actually having my Apple Watch charged.
Yeah, that helps.
So that I can check my steps and log my workout and just things like that. Workout wise, not been a great week. I am still pretty injured. My knee is sore, my shoulder's sore. I'm a walking disaster in that sense. But food is on track, sleep, water, just really paying attention to those things and just trying to move more.
Yeah. And food being on track is the primary focus anyway. So sessions, although it's frustrating, it's not likely to hinder your cut that much.
Yeah, and I know it won't last forever. Like, it's obviously frustrating the first week of my cut, feeling like my 2 sessions at the gym this week have not been good.
Yeah. Like,
really frustrating. I literally cried in the gym today.
There could be a number of reasons why that is as well. You might be putting a lot of pressure on yourself, thinking like, I need my sessions to be perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that to keep an eye on, I suppose. And you know, maybe towards the end of the week, you might be in a much better position. Your training might be better. Yeah,
well, I've got an osteopath appointment on Friday, so hopefully that will sort me out. I just really, in this cut, need to pay attention to rest because I have been pushing my body. Even when I know it's been sore, I'm still pushing through, just thinking that it's fine, but it's making it worse. So I need to prioritize rest and recovery. Like, I did a little bit of, because I had to cut my session a little bit shorter today, I just went into the studio and did some yoga.
Yeah.
And it felt really good. So I just need to prioritize that. Mobility, stretching, rest, and hopefully that'll be all right. But yeah, I did my first sort of official check-in with myself today, weighed myself, did my progress photos. And yeah, I'm really happy with how I finished my bulk. I added like 5 centimeters to my glutes, gained like 3 or 4 kilograms. So yeah, it's been good, but I'm excited to cut now.
Good.
What about you? You're not off to a great start, are you? You didn't even weigh yourself this morning.
I didn't weigh myself this morning.
But you were up early.
Yeah, but I don't think my weight would have shifted much since last week when I did last weigh myself. So
yeah.
And if it has, then it will be a pleasant surprise for next week. So
true.
Otherwise it's been good. I've been tracking everything. I've meal prepped properly, so I've got myself a bit more of a meal plan over the course of the next sort of 10 weeks now, which is, I find that a lot easier to keep on top of because it's just simple. Like, I know what I'm eating: breakfast, lunch, dinners. I'm going to vary a little bit.
Yeah, we're quite similar like that, aren't we? We're quite happy to kind of eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch, but when it comes to dinner, we like to have something that we enjoy.
Yeah.
But still tracked.
So it's just a case of knowing that, like, if I take a few calories off lunch and breakfast, I can have that little bit surplus at dinner, but not going too much overboard at all. So
you got up early this morning and did cardio?
I did cardio. Fasted cardio this morning. I did cardio yesterday after training as well. So I've also changed my training split up a lot as well, and I'm in the process of rewriting my training program in general. So there's going to be some new things in there, some different things to try and get into, which I'm quite looking forward to. You're
even thinking about going back to rugby training?
Yeah, we'll see. I think I need to lose a bit of weight first and just feel a little bit fitter in general.
I guess that, like, as well as obviously having aesthetic goals during this cut, of course, I think we both have a goal of just feeling generally fitter.
Yeah.
And really paying attention to, like, our cardiovascular fitness. Like we said last week, I will be completely honest, and I'm ashamed to say we didn't do a strength and conditioning session like we promised we would last week. Remember, we did a little pinky on the podcast?
I do not remember that at all.
We said that we shook on it and we were like, we're going to do a strength and conditioning session this weekend.
I believe I said something along the lines of...
You shook my hand.
I think I said something along the lines of, yeah, you have to do it.
No, I said we were going to do it together.
You have to set it up though.
Okay.
And that never happened.
I think it's because you were training legs on Saturday, so you didn't want to do it.
We were both just generally...
Well, I was exhausted after driving back and forth from Manchester.
It was
long.
It was long, and we were both very tired on the Saturday morning. We wanted a bit of a lazy morning.
Yeah, we did train though.
We did train, but then you had to rush back because you had people coming over.
Excuses, guys.
I know, of course, but we still trained. We just didn't do the training we probably should have done. So,
but that's okay. We still have time.
But yeah, so other than that, my cut's gone all right so far.
Yeah, I think we're both off to a good start.
See how things are next week. But yeah, that's what's this called? The Cut Chronicles?
The weekly check-in.
The weekly
Maybe
check-in.
We could give it something a bit of a better name than that.
Yeah. No, I like the weekly check-in.
The weekly check-in.
So yeah, tune in next week.
Should we do like a jingle?
Yeah, I'm gonna find a jingle to put on this.
Do.
Let me know what you guys think of the jingle that I'm gonna put. Not that.
Not that. Okay.
So yeah, I'll find something to do, and we'll have a little jingle and make this little segment each week. So
yeah.
But hopefully you guys enjoy and we can keep you filled in.
Do you want to keep talking?
No.
This episode, what we're doing, we are doing a little bit of a Q&A, aren't we? We haven't done one for a little while.
I do enjoy them.
I really enjoy them as well. They're a little bit more free-flowing.
It's interesting to see where people are, what areas people are interested in us talking about as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's that just a little fun thing or like fun question, or whether there's actually a sort of reason behind what they want to ask,
Yeah, I think we've both got a few, haven't we? So let's get them up. Do you want to go first or should I go first?
Have you got one ready?
I do actually have one. I'll keep it anonymous. She hasn't asked me to, but I will anyway. So I got asked in the little question box, if I want to grow muscle but not get fluffy, as Lucy says, what would you recommend? So essentially she's asking how to lean bulk, I would say.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, it's just... Basically, it's just eating in a calorie surplus that isn't too high.
Much, yeah.
Ultimately, the gains you make in that process, the muscle gains you make in that process, are going to be lower than that of someone who is eating more food. Don't eat muscle. Muscle doesn't grow muscle. So the more food you eat, the more fuel essentially you're fueling your body with. Fat is a byproduct of that. So it's your body's way of storing that energy for later use. It's just like what I would advise personally is work out your maintenance calories.
Yeah.
You can use a calorie macro calculator online. There's loads of them around. Work out your maintenance calories, and then probably just go above that by 100 to 200 calories.
Maybe even more. I'd say 200 to 300.
I think it depends.
Depends on your bills, actually, probably as well.
I think as well, if you know that you're predisposed to putting on fat, like if you get two kind of types of people. You get those who can put on weight really easily, and those who can lose weight really easily. Some people have it all, and they can do both.
Yeah. Fuckers. Sorry. Really rude.
So, if you're someone who puts weight on easily, I'd stick to the lower end of that scale and just go by 100 or 200 calories.
Over your maintenance.
If you're someone who doesn't put weight on easily, maybe go a bit higher. There's no right or wrong answer. It's trial and error, to be honest.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks, if you weigh in again and you haven't put any muscle mass or you haven't put any weight on,
go up,
raise the calories again by a little bit. You know, it's working within the limitations that we have to make the most of it, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. I would have said exactly the same thing. I think, again, there's kind of two ways of looking at it. If you want more gains, as Callum says, you probably just have to be okay and accept the fact that you might get a little bit fluffy. Remember what we always say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if you want more gains, just go for it and accept the fluffiness, because you can cut that back off and you'll probably have more gains to show off. But typically, not in everyone's case, but you can lean bulk. As we said, do what Callum just said. Obviously, just be on top of things as well. Don't get slack with it just because you have extra calories. What often, and we've spoken about this before on the podcast, what people often do is they start getting a little bit lazy with their food choices because they're not tracking so much anymore. Your mind just kind of automatically goes, well, I've got more calories, so I'm sure that pizza will fit into my calories. I'm bulking, I can get a takeaway.
Or the classic, if I just don't have lunch and I can have a bigger dinner later, and then I can get a takeaway.
And then you're not tracking it, obviously.
Yeah, and then actually you're eating 500 calories over your maintenance.
Yeah, and you're not eating the right food, so you're probably going to put on more fat. So think about your food choices, how much of it you're having. Think about getting your protein in. That's really, really important. But other things as well, like prioritizing your rest and recovery, being on top of all those other markers, just as you would do in a cut. You don't need to try and hide the fact that you're yawning.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to,
put me off? Yeah, is it off-putting when someone yawns when you're talking?
Yeah, I didn't mean to. It's been a long day.
All right. That's probably pretty much it. I hope that helps. So don't go overboard with a calorie surplus if you want to keep it as a lean bulk. Only increase by maybe 100 to 300, depending on who you are. Hit your protein. Don't get lazy with your food choices. Still track. Eat the right foods. Rest, recover. Keep all of those things in a good place.
Keep your sleep high.
Push your training hard.
Yeah. And it should help.
I think okay, cool. You got one?
Yeah.
Thank you for that question as well. Thank you to everyone that sent in questions. We really appreciate it. That was a good question.
What are the two best exercises to do at home / on holiday with limited time or no equipment?
Just two exercises?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I think, firstly, as we always say, it depends on your goals. If you, for the most part, we've been away on holiday before, and there's been gyms available or opportunities for us to do some sort of training, and we've gone, nah, don't need to. I'm on holiday. It's not that you shouldn't. It completely depends on the person and what the reason is. If you're set on doing something, it's a tricky one, because if you're really set on doing something, but you don't have much time or equipment available, you're a bit of a sort of catch-22, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a really tough question.
What I will say is, and I always say this, squats, any form of squats are probably your overall leg builders.
Yeah.
So I would incorporate some form of squats. these are really easy to do. So you could do them body weight. If you wanted to do weighted squats, you just have to hold something.
Yeah.
If you're on holiday and you've got a suitcase, fill it with your clothes.
Yeah.
Hold on to it and just squat that.
Or like water bottles.
Yeah.
Put water bottles in a bag. That was a lockdown favourite.
Yeah.
But arguably, like, are you going to have a great workout? If you're set on doing a workout, but you're only going to do 2 exercises, this is really bad to say, but personally, I probably just wouldn't bother.
No.
For me, I'd either like to do a full workout, even if it's shorter than my normal workout and it's only 4 to 5 exercises, you know, instead of 8 or instead of an hour workout. I'd still rather do like 5 exercises rather than 2 because it would just feel a bit wrong.
Ultimately as well, so this question came from a female, so I guess it's slightly different, but speaking about your goals and stuff like that, like if you have specific, as a guy, I would probably I suppose it could work for a girl as well. I'd probably say squats and some form of
maybe like a press up.
Yeah. Some form of press up. Purely because it's very difficult to train back with no equipment or body weight, you know, like
really hard.
It's very difficult to try and do that.
And it's very isolated. Like you're just going to be doing your back.
Yeah. Press ups are great. You could do variations to make it, you know. You
could do like pike press ups.
It's more of the shoulders.
Wide, narrow. Like.
Yeah. So I'd probably say, squats and press ups. But press ups are very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Then, like, for some, they are a lot harder. So maybe in that instance, you might be like, well, I'm not going to bother doing press up. I mean, it's a good opportunity to practice. If you've got time to do something, you can just keep trying to do it.
Crazy DOMs, press ups.
Yeah. But then maybe abs. I don't know. Exactly.
Then maybe you want to do a bit of core. So, and also like, maybe you want to just go for a run. Maybe your goal is fat loss and you just want to go for a run. That doesn't need any equipment whatsoever. So it's a tough question. I don't know what you think about this, but I'd maybe, if you can, just even do 4 exercises.
Yeah.
And maybe do full body.
Yeah.
So you're doing a bit of everything.
What 4 would you choose then?
It depends, I guess, because you could also do like a circuit with like burpees in and...
Yeah, again, it depends on your
so
goal.
much you could do.
I think what I'd advise would be, if I was picking 4, so I would say squats, press up, inchworm or walkouts.
Yeah.
And some form of ab exercise, whether that's a plank or probably a plank. Yeah, I'd probably say a plank.
Wall sit's a good one, but that's very just legs.
Yeah,
but all you need is a wall.
It's quite an isolation, isn't it? So you might as well squat.
Yeah. I mean, I have clients who travel for work or just love training and go on holiday and want to train, and there's no access to a gym, so they just pack a few resistance bands or go on, let it out.
No, I can't.
He's trying to hold in another yawn.
That's going to come back around a bit.
They either take bands with them and I give them a very kind of basic banded only workout program or body weight. But like I said, it doesn't have to be that you're spending hours of your day on holiday.
No, and I think
doing
that's the point. I think that's the point, in the question it says limited time as well. So if you do have limited time, something of course is better than nothing, but don't beat yourself up if you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Or like maybe that's a perfect opportunity to spend some time doing a quick little mobility stretch routine and get
yoga.
Get some hip mobility or something. Areas where you are struggling with normally, maybe that's a good opportunity to do them.
100%, especially if you're like on a beach, like go down to the beach and do some Pilates or yoga or something. Like that's Pilates, I've never done Pilates, but it's all the rage right now and it's really good for your overall, like your core strength. So that might be something quite nice to do. Yeah. Sorry if that didn't really answer it.
Yeah.
That was a tough question, but hope it helped. My turn?
Next, yeah.
I only have a couple, so I'll just do my next one. This one's funny. We need an update on Callum's mouth breathing. Oh my God, we haven't spoken about this for so long.
Should I get my little nose strips?
No.
So I don't know if last time we spoke. So
I feel like it was the first ever episode,
Yeah, it was. I bought some nose strips that I wear and I sleep with them. I know some people like mouth tape, but I was kind of not too into the idea.
Shut you up.
So I got nose strips, and it has helped.
Do you know what? I reckon those mouth strips is not a bad idea, because it's when your mouth is open, obviously, that you make horrific noises. So, you know, when I come over to you and I'm
noises.
Like, yeah, it is horrific.
Come over to me. I'll get a punch in the face.
You do not get a punch. I just shut your mouth. I don't. I just go like that.
Quite forcefully.
I do not punch you. Well, I'm just like, shut your mouth. Yeah. No, do you know what's really odd? I've noticed. It's
only on my right-hand side.
Yeah, so if he's lying, if he's facing the left-hand side, so if he's like in the fetal position.
If I'm lying on my left-hand side.
He's silent. Silent.
And I notice as well, when I'm lying there, when I'm breathing through my nose, it's so much clearer.
Yeah. And then when he's on his back, obviously classic, like the back is quite typical for snoring. But when you're facing me as well, so it's like you come to spoon me and we have a nice cuddle, and then I'm like, get off me now, you're annoying me. Yeah. But I would actually say it's definitely improved. The nose strips have really helped. Like, I tried one on the other day and I was like, yeah.
You did,
I was like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, so it was a good purchase, and I got like 300 of them. 300 of them on Amazon for like next to nothing. So,
but I've seen, like, you know, all runners are wearing them now.
Yeah,
and they have like these thick ones. Yeah. Like, I wonder how good they are.
Well,
maybe they're reusable.
Probably are better. But yeah, it was a good purchase, and I think if anyone is in a similar situation or has a partner who's in a similar situation, especially with the mouth tape, I find that quite personally, it feels quite intrusive.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. Also, I don't think it would stick to your beard.
No, yeah, exactly. So probably not ideal with facial hair, but
I think the nose strips are better as well, because it's kind of teaching you to breathe through your nose.
It's like I'm noticeable. Like when I've got it on, I can feel it on, so I kind of notice that I'm like, okay, so it's making me think about breathing through my nose. It's not intrusive in that respect that like I'm like, oh, there's something on my face. No,
yeah.
And I wake up in the morning sometimes, I forget I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the update, I suppose.
I mean, I actually also don't really notice you just breathing through your mouth generally as much. I don't know if I've just got used to it. Like, you know, and I remember in the first episode I was saying that we'd just be watching a film and you're like,
oh, not that bad. It wasn't like, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that.
Please.
It wasn't that bad, but I would be able to hear you like, and I'll be like, what on earth? I don't notice that anymore, so I don't know if you genuinely have just got better.
Maybe I'm just more conscious of it now because I've been berated so much.
You still sound quite nasally, but
well.
Sorry.
At least I don't snort when I laugh.
Yeah, I don't do that all the time. But I just, to all the fellow partners out there who aren't getting much sleep because of a snoring partner,
get
some nose strips.
Definitely.
So I love that they cared about that. That's hilarious.
Okay, my go?
Yes, your go.
What's your favourite non-fitness podcast to listen to?
Oh, okay. Do you know what? I used to be obsessed with Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. And I'm not here to call him out because I do still really like his podcast. But
do you know what Stephen Bartlett really likes?
His podcast.
Huel.
Yes, he does. Let's not get into that though. We'll get we can't even get cancelled. But yeah, I used to be like every Monday morning I'd walk to my co-working space and I had that on. And if I'm completely honest, the people that were on just weren't my vibe anymore.
Yeah.
And I've sort of gone to more fun podcasts. So my favourite right now is probably...
Sorry. Oh, it got me. I'm trying to hold it in again.
Probably Newlyweds.
Yeah.
So Jamie Lang and Sophie Haboo. Or Sophie Lang, really. She is now.
Yeah.
She is, but she actually hasn't changed her name. So yeah.
We enjoyed that, to be fair, like when we were driving up to...
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it from the very beginning when it was... Newlyweds, and then they got married, like all the wedding planning. I used to listen to it on the Stairmaster, and yeah, so I really like that one.
Oh, good.
What about you?
Aside from our good friends at the Chronicles of Podcast.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't know. I've gone off other podcasts a little bit at the moment. I used to listen to.
Just that Gym Couple podcast, to be honest.
That's the only one. Just listen to us. Well, editing this is enough.
Yeah, literally.
What's the High Performance podcast?
Yes,
You know that one?
I quite have that book as well.
I quite enjoyed that. Again, I think it went down the line a little bit of Stephen Bartlett, where I think maybe the guests that they had on weren't appealing to me as much. Not that they weren't great guests, but there were just a few. Yeah, there was a few where someone would come on and I'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! I know, like, I want to know more about this athlete." I think one of their early episodes they had Jack Knoll, ex-Exeter Chiefs in England rugby player on, and you know, I'd followed his career for a while, so it was really cool to like listen to him in that setting. And he was doing it from his home gym and stuff like that. And yeah, he was.
I mean, arguably, there's still fitness kind of related podcast. It's supposed to be non-fitness related.
True, but in general, like the high performance podcast, like they're just high performing people.
Yeah, true.
So some of them aren't necessarily athletes, or you know, and it's more about their lives and like how they get to those points. And but yeah, I think that's. Yeah,
I mean, you're actually more of probably a YouTube watcher, aren't you?
Yeah, I do.
Also, like you barely have any time alone to even listen to a podcast. Like I was just thinking, when would you get time to listen to a podcast?
Exactly.
Maybe when you're doing cardio.
But then I stick a YouTube video on usually because I prefer to watch something than watch the time ticking.
Oh yeah, same. That's why I like to watch.
But then I guess I would watch a podcast on there. So, yeah, I think that's probably it though. Chronicles of Podcast would be my answer.
Okay. That's because you're in that one.
Yeah. Well, I watched the bits that I'm not in. They interview loads of different people.
Yeah.
My last one.
Oh, we're on the last one already, are we?
Well, my last one. Do you have any?
I only had 2.
Oh, I had 3. If you could choose to be a brand athlete, which brand would you choose and why? I already know Lucy's answer.
Yeah, I mean.
Do you know what would be quite cool?
What?
The brand you're wearing now.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was just thinking that. I bloody love Adenola.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily wear their stuff to the gym. I know they do gym stuff, but I just love their sort of like lounge wear, their like yoga type stuff, their bags, hats. Yeah. But
this wouldn't really be a
don't know if
brand
it's 100% aligned with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when Callum said he knows what I'm going to say, he was thinking of Honor Active.
Yeah.
I'd only ever work with brands where I truly love the products.
Yeah.
And when I first tried Honor Active by Chrissy Cella, I haven't worn anything else since. I have not worn any other pair of shorts, leggings, tops, sports bras since trying that brand. So, yeah, probably Honor Active.
Yeah.
What about you? The one you're wearing? I know it's not a big brand, really, but...
What a chosen few.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, when the question came through, I thought I'd actually kind of prefer to go with someone who's a bit out there and a bit like they're not in the fitness industry really at the moment, but they have like...
Yeah, but it had to be something that aligned with you, like, and
your
goals.
That's what I mean. Like, I feel like someone on a larger scope, I think would be really cool. That's not just necessarily clothing. There's a bit more to them that...
Yeah.
Which is, you know, like someone like Red Bull. Like, how cool would it be to be like a Red Bull affiliate athlete?
Well, I don't really know. Like, do they do...
Yeah, they've got like athletes and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that would be quite cool.
Just an absolutely massive global brand.
Also, like, I know you would never want to do this, but like Lululemon, I see a lot of guys doing Lululemon, and I like that because they are very big on not just the gym, or it's like running, it's yoga, like there's loads of stuff to it. It's never really
appealed to me though, and I've never had any of their stuff, and I'm sure it is great, but we went past some the other day, and I was just like, yeah.
I don't think it's your style,
no,
really.
It's not at all. Yeah, I think I'd want to go big.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or like, yeah, there are some brands that I do enjoy that I do wear now. Chosen a few.
Vanquish.
Yeah,
that one begins with a C. You like
Conte.
that one? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would. If I had the choice though, I think I'd want to go big.
Yeah.
I think I'd want to go a little bit outside the box and not necessarily just be like a, like clothing or supplements.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, if anyone does want to sponsor me
or our podcast,
it's
hard though.
Actually.
Like I've worked with quite a few brands before, and I've kind of stopped working with brands for different reasons because I haven't used the product or liked the products anymore. But you have to really kind of be aware of who you're getting into business with, because you're the one providing the content, which is a job in itself. And from my experience, you need to work with brands that like communicate well. Like I work with brands and you just never hear from anyone. And it's like I see the girls that work with Honor Active as an example, and they're so on it. Like I follow loads of them, so you know that a launch is coming up. I'm missing one right now. But they're on it with the stories. They know what every single thing is called. They know what colours it's dropping in. They know when. You know, they've obviously been given a very specific brief that they have to deliver.
Yeah.
And that's good communication from the brand.
A brand like that where, although they're still quite new, so the ones who are bought in on the ground level are so, you know, they're so into it because they have to be. They're invested themselves, and they know that what this means, and they know that it's like that brand's building and building and building like that. It's just going up and up and up. So as it gets bigger and bigger, and the more people they bring in, that's when it gets diluted. I mean, look at the likes of Gymshark. You know, it still is a massive brand, but at the same time, it's fallen a little bit, and a lot of people are just they feel so disengaged with it now because it's not what it used to be.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who I like. Another big brand I wouldn't mind, Adidas. I do like Adidas.
Yeah, God, that would be a big brand.
Adidas as a brand would be pretty cool if I had to pick one.
Yeah, you're so right though. I think when a brand starts kind of diluting its value and kind of getting influence on, why can't I speak? Influencers on board just because of the numbers that they've got, not because they have anything to do with fitness, I sort of lose a little bit of respect for them.
And that's the controversy that Gymshark had in the first place. Like their first batch of influencers they had who were supporting the brand, they were promoting all this fitness information and sign up with my coaching and stuff like this. But the actual advice they were giving was really bad.
Yeah.
And they got slapped so hard for it because people were like, what the hell? Like you as a brand are promoting these people who are in turn promoting you.
So we can't get behind your brand.
I think they flipped it massively. But Gymshark were one of the biggest, or if maybe not the first to...
They were the first, I'm pretty sure.
To use that influencer marketing.
Yeah, I think
they've done it so well. But now look at it, like everyone wants to have that 10% off link in my bio, and it's nuts, isn't it? Because a lot of them are just doing it for brands that they probably wouldn't ever wear themselves. It's just the first person who came to...
I mean, if you genuinely love the brand and you wear it, that's amazing. Yeah. But I've said to friends before who are trying to grow their Instagram, like, I've been like messaged by this person, and I'm like, that's great. Like, if you think you like the clothing, go for it, but don't just do it just to have in your bio 10% off with my code. Like, getting content is a job, and be authentic. As I said, I have stopped working with brands because I don't like the products anymore, and I will not lie to my followers and say that they should get something when I don't even like it.
Yeah, or especially if you don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like trying to sell BCAAs. You know what I mean? But
that's why I love Honor Active, because I truly feel great in their clothes.
Exactly.
Like I've never felt more confident.
All of them are. And there probably will be other brands in the future that you're going to love and promote more than that. But it is interesting that's just the way that a lot of people's brains go, and they're like, I want that tag on my bio, because it's almost like being part of a club, and everyone's like, oh my God, they're important. Yeah,
exactly that. I think it makes you feel important, makes you feel like you were wanted. So
it was like being verified back in the day.
Yeah.
Getting verified on
that was hard
socials.
to do though. I don't know how.
Of course it was, but I guess when people did, they were like, oh my God. And then there was so much of a backlash when they started. They were like, anyone can get verified, you just have to pay. But it's something that I think, if you've got a business account and that is your...
I know, you scared me. That's the only reason I did it, because you were like, if you lose your account, Like, you're not going to probably get it back, which is true.
Yeah.
So
where's your other stream of
don't even go there.
I know people I know coaches and PTs that that's happened to, and they've lost their accounts and they've had to start from scratch on socials, which ultimately I guess sometimes isn't a bad idea because you can completely rebrand yourself.
Yeah.
But any instance of like someone who might have seen that opportunity to join you as on your coaching program, it's gone now because they won't be able to find you.
Like, all my leads come through social media. It's like someone who earns a full-time income from YouTube suddenly being banned from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do? If you could pay to get a bit more protection, I think you would. Like, it's my livelihood.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyone that makes fun of it, come at me, because I'm not losing my business. It's important,
exactly. It's important. So yeah. Cool.
Wow, I think, was that your last question?
That was my last question, yeah.
Well, thanks for the questions, guys. Keep them coming. We love to hear them. I guess that wraps up this week's episode. A little bit of a shorter one.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And you enjoyed the weekly check-in progress.
Make sure you weigh yourself next week so we can see your progress.
Yeah. Maybe down the line we'll get our pictures up as well. So you can see our progress pictures.
That's a good idea. Put them up on the screen.
As you can see here. But yeah, please send your questions in again. If you have any or have anything you'd like to ask, or if anything in the podcast that we talked about today piques an interest and you want to know more. Yeah, definitely. Well, we need to go and finish our daily steps. Oh God. I know. Before it gets dark. Yeah. And cook some dinner. That sounds great. We will catch you in the next episode. Have a lovely week. And we'll see you next week. Adios.